lazy and just like bad with timing and time management. But 3 episodes is pretty good.
3 episodes, yeah. Like, I feel like that's a good accomplishment too.
Yeah.
We really mean it.
Some people just talk about doing a podcast and then never do anything. So we have at least 2 under our belt at this point, and now a 3rd one.
Yep, here we are.
Yes. I watched that crazy movie.
Tell everyone what crazy movie I made you watch.
You made me watch Boxing Helena, and I'm in this like film group on Facebook called like super weird movies or like super disturbing films or something like that. I'm opening a LaCroix. But somebody posted about it maybe like a month back saying like this movie is so disturbing, and like it just had like a picture of like the woman with like no arms and no legs, and I was just like, I don't fucking ever want to watch that. That looks horrible. Like some guy is keeping this woman hostage and he's like obsessed with her. He's been obsessed with her ever since they had sex one time. Right. And she thought he was a terrible lover, and he like came super quick, and like he was just obsessed with her, sending her flowers incessantly and like calling her all the time and like spying on her. And he has like weird mommy issues. His mom was, I guess, like super neglectful, and like he would like watch his mom cheat on her husband. Like he would see his mom naked and stuff like that, and like as a child. And
it shaped his sexuality.
Yes.
This movie was directed by Jennifer Lynch, who David Lynch's daughter.
Interesting.
And what I learned by like watching the director's comment is there was like a director's commentary version of Boxing Helena. It's floating around somewhere on YouTube.
Interesting.
She apparently Eraserhead is about her. And it was about her father's anxieties and fears and everything, and just struggle with becoming a father. Because have you seen Eraserhead?
I have not seen Eraserhead, no.
Okay, there's like this creepy baby creature. It's like baby-like, but not exactly a baby. And it's very disturbing, and it whines all the time. And like, she was born club-footed. And so she had to get all of these surgeries. And I guess like, and I never knew that until I watched this. Like, but these were her feelings with grappling with being born, disabled. And so a lot of it was just about like her psyche and her experience, which I did not realize when I first saw. I saw this as a teenager.
Okay.
And yeah, like everyone was like, what the fuck? Because it's it's very strange. It's a disturbing film.
Yeah. I took some notes, like that's an interesting insight. My granny was born with a clubfoot in a barn, and her uncle Walter was the one who like ripped the foot and like made it not clubbed anymore. He like did something as soon as she was born, like with his hands, like saved her feet.
But it worked?
It worked, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because I guess she had to be like get surgeries and be in some sort of braces for a long time.
Damn. That's nuts. Lord Byron had a clubbed foot too.
Did he? Okay. Mm-hmm.
He's like super self-conscious about it. So here's my notes.
Okay.
Another Peeping Tom movie. Who shows up at a party and takes off their dress and goes in the fountain? Who stands in the middle of the road like that and doesn't hear a car coming? And I think 1 hour in, I wrote, I do not like this movie.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
But I was happy about the ending, and I'm gonna spoil it because it's been like it's been like 30 years, right?
Yeah.
This is an old movie.
Yeah.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. No, but like it was I was like, oh great, like cool. Like I'm so glad like none of that actually happened.
Yeah, it was interesting because like while I was watching the commentary, the guy, I don't know if he was a producer or I think he may have been a producer and I forget his name. But that was, I guess, the reason he agreed to be on board with the film was because it was a dream sequence.
Yeah.
And had it been real, it would have been too much, like too disturbing, and he would not have wanted to promote it. And it's interesting to view it in that lens, through that lens, because so for people who haven't seen it, Julian Sands is in it, who's really handsome, and normally I like, but I hated him in this role because he's such a good actor, and he plays like the ultimate, I think, kind of entitled incel kind of guy, you know, like he's not technically an incel because he does have a girlfriend who he ignores in favor of Helena, which is Sherilyn Finn, and her father was Jennifer's father was the connection with that because she was on Twin Peaks at the time.
Who was she on Twin Peaks?
I don't know.
She looks super familiar.
Yeah. I'm not the hugest fan of that show. I know that's sacrilege to say. I've only seen like a few episodes here and there. It never was my thing.
Yeah. I like it, but I also literally don't care.
I don't know. For Twin Peaks, maybe I should try watching it again. I sometimes feel like I must be missing something about it because so many people like it, and so maybe I would at this point. I don't know. I like his movies, but Sherilyn.
She was Audrey Horne. Okay, that makes sense. She was like the babe on that show.
Mm-hmm. And she's a babe in this movie too.
Yeah, totally.
She's really like smoking hot. It's like the epitome of a hot woman. She's just like kind of, yeah, fairy tale like, and just really beautiful. And
I'm so whimsical. I take off my dress and go in the fountain at a party.
uses her feminine wiles to seduce him. And it's funny because, they mentioned this on the commentary too, like she doesn't want him, but she kind of wants him to adore her so she can brush him off and be like, ugh, because she goes to his party to taunt him. And I think one of my favorite scenes in the movie, just because it's so hilarious and awkward, is when she comes in and his mother's just died, and he's inherited this huge mansion with beautiful, statues and whatever, a grand piano, and all these grounds that are taken care of from his mom. And so she shows up to the party and she hands him her purse, and then she's like, so this is your place, huh? And he goes, oh yes, my mother just died. And she's like, ugh, boring, and like walks away mid-sentence when he says that. And he starts running after her like, but I'm okay,
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, it always struck me as like this kind of a statement about like male entitlement and how there's not really the same dialogue with women. Like it's very interesting because I watched it patched together through YouTube videos. Someone uploaded like 10 different cuts of it, and
Okay.
took out like the erotic scenes. Um, of course, or they were taken down or whatever. But I watched it, and even the comments on the YouTube were like, she deserved it. She was so mean to him. And it would
Oh
have
my
7 likes. And so it's just really, this is really how people think. And it's interesting how they come out of the woodwork and make these comments on YouTube, because we don't have that same sort of like, if an unattractive or, you know, for whatever reason, undesirable, conventionally unattractive woman wants a man, her being nice to him isn't enough to entitle her to sex in the same way that like a man being a good guy, you know, to a beautiful and young desirable woman, like entitles them.
Yeah.
And like
And
if
it's
someone's bitchy, they deserve to lose all their limbs. According to these people.
it's scary too, because it's like, oh, if someone is like consistently trying to like make advances on a woman, this is her fate, like for rejecting him.
Yeah.
Like this is his fantasy. He wants to like to box her in, boxing Helena. Like, yeah, like just so scary. Like the idea of like being is it's like Beauty and the Beast kind of, you
Yeah.
know, like
Quality.
just, and she ends up like in his fantasy falling for him, like rejecting the guy Bill Paxton who comes to save her at the end.
Bill Paxton plays this like wonderful himbo.
Mm-hmm.
It's like leather pants. And he's so funny. But yeah, he's the guy she's seeing. Um, yeah, and that's an interesting part too, because he at some point he figures out that Helena's being kept at, I don't even remember the doctor's house. I just remember it's Julian Sands.
It got a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of hilarious.
That's really funny.
Dr. Nick Kavanaugh.
Okay, yeah. So Dr. Nick Kavanaugh. All right, so he figures out that Nick Kavanaugh is keeping Helena at his house, and he steps aside and sees her, and you never see, there's not really any like gruesome or violent moments. You never see him doing any of these things to her. It's just like she wakes up one morning and he's removed her legs, and then later in the movie he's removed her arms as well. And
after she fights back trying to like strangle him, not even really trying to strangle him, just grabbing him by the neck, like I'll never love you. And then she like grabs him by the neck, so he punishes her by removing both of her arms, so she basically has no way to escape now.
right, yeah. And then so it really speaks to the male fantasy that like Bill Paxton comes in to save her, and he looks at her, and then she says something, or it's before that, where she says something along the lines of like, who would ever want me now, which is like ableist and like it's a very problematic film in a lot of ways, not just for like misogyny or violence or anything, but just overall. And he comes in and says, you know, like, oh, she was beautiful. And then he says she is beautiful. And before they start tussling on the ground, Helena's just like, you know, just leave him alone. And he goes, you want this guy? You want me to leave? You don't want me to save you? And she's like, no, I want to stay here. And it's like, so in his mind or in his dream sequence, like he's slowly got her to come around. Like once she has no agency, she like comes to rely on him and no longer wants to escape, because she probably figures like this guy loves me more than anyone else ever will, or, but yeah, Jennifer talks about how she doesn't hate Nick Kavanaugh, how he like represents some part of her or whatever. But even like seeing them kiss or anything is so disturbing to me. It's like very violent, and I do not like the character.
I hated it. I hated him so much. There's like a sex scene where they're playing some song by Enigma.
Enigma,
Like
Sadness. That's like in a lot of 90s erotic thrillers.
I remember it from the Pure Moods commercials.
Oh, totally. Oh my God. Pure Moods. Yes.
Yeah. So that was kind of a trip, like ça, c'est moi, like that song with the panpipes. That was amazing. And like the Gregorian chants in the background, like,
Yes.
oh. I would play it, but I don't want us to get flagged again.
A little bit of trouble. We're on the wrong side of the law now because of our last episode. So
even though it's commentary, like we're literally commenting on the things that we're listening to, but whatever.
It's free use. Yeah, I wasn't like, here's this comedy bit I made up.
Right. Or like, let me play this in its entirety and like say that, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's already on YouTube. Like somebody already uploaded it on YouTube. Are they getting flagged? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's a weird place to draw a line in the sand, but
point taken, YouTube. We got it.
So one of the things that I vividly remember from seeing it as a teenager is her laughing at him. And I think that was like one of the more interesting parts of the film, because she starts laughing at him. This is after she's discovered he has removed her arms. And she's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And she just starts laughing at him like, I will never love you. And he's so afraid of her laughter that he goes in the other room and like hides his face. And it was just kind of a cool part of the movie, because it was like, even though he's done all these things to her, like she's still the one in control. She's still the one, she still has power over him. Like he can't quite remove all of her agency or make her love him.
Yeah, I think remembering that you told me that pushed me into watching it, because reading the synopsis that I read in that weird Facebook group, I was just like, I don't like movies like that where, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, it's too real. Like that kind of trauma is way too real for me. I also don't like sad movies, but this wasn't a sad movie, so.
It wasn't. Somehow it was not sad, and somehow it was not violent in the ways that you would expect. Like it was not gory or gruesome.
Right. I kind of thought it might be. But once it started, I was like, oh, this is going to be like kind of campy. The first opening party scene I liked. I really enjoyed that, where you get an idea of what his childhood was like in one quick scene. Like his father is like working, they're having a party at the house. His mother is like a socialite, doesn't tell any of her friends that she has a child. They're like, who's this kid walking around? They're like, oh, it's so-and-so's. They're like, oh, she's never mentioned having a child.
Right, like she has a son?
Yeah.
It's like imprinting on his psyche.
And Art Garfunkel's in it.
Yes.
Super weird as like his friend. And
Mhm.
the dad from that 70s show is in it briefly.
Yeah, and I think I want to say Willem Dafoe is he's the guy that wants to use the payphone for a second. He's like some thug or something. But like Dr. Nick Kavanaugh goes to use a cell phone and Willem Dafoe grabs it for a second or something.
Wow. I didn't even catch that. Willem Dafoe's in it for a minute.
And I guess Kim Basinger or Bassinger, whichever you prefer, was originally going to be Helena, and then she backed out at the last second. And I think she got sued for a lot of money because she'd already signed some contract or something. But they were like, it'll ruin your career. And, it may have. I don't know.
Madonna was supposed to be in it too.
Yeah, Madonna. You're right. I forgot about that. I could see Madonna in it. I could see either one of them. Like, I wouldn't hold this movie against them, but maybe the public at large would. I don't know.
Well, it's weird because it's like a cult film now.
Mm-hmm.
It was released, it premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. Let's see. The film received negative reviews from critics upon release and was widely considered to be of poor quality, despite garnering praise at Sundance. Yeah, on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 17% score.
I'm surprised by that, even for them. I'm surprised that it would be so low. Like, I get that it's, a bad movie or whatever, but you'd think they'd like the camp factor or think it was like so bad it's good or something.
I didn't think it was a bad movie. It was definitely campy, but it wasn't like, wow, this is trash. Like, it was telling a story. There's a story there. There's like, yeah, some cheesy scenes, but like, it's not, I don't think any of it was gratuitous or like, I don't know. And I liked the freaking statues with the arms cut off because that was cool foreshadowing.
Yeah, there was like they really liked the metaphor and foreshadowing, and there's a bird in a cage, there's Venus de Milo,
Yeah.
and
I didn't think it was that bad.
you just didn't like it because of like the violent theme or
Well, that's when I it was like an hour into the movie and it's just like him like freaking holding this woman captive. Yeah, I was just like, I don't like this. Like, I guess I didn't like seeing a woman trapped in that situation. And also, I thought it was improbable to be hit by a car in that way.
yeah. She stayed out in the middle of the street for a long time.
You would hear that coming. Like, that truck was going really fast, but you could hear a truck coming down the road. You wouldn't just be standing in the middle of the road.
Right.
Like, come on. I get it's a movie, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's just, yeah, that character that Julian Sands plays is so like, ugh.
Yeah. And
Well-known guys like that.
yeah. I think that was really just it. Just like seeing, that's why the ending made it better for me. Like, oh, he doesn't actually, get any of this. He doesn't get, his wish doesn't come true to control this woman in like every aspect of her life. But yeah.
It's just some sick fantasy and she never has to see him again, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. He sucked. What else was he in? He looked super familiar.
There's like, okay, something about a vampire, Tale of a Vampire, or something like that. He was in that. And was he in that? something chocolate movie. I don't know. It's IMDb. I know. I think he's been like. I think he was in one or two famous movies.
Okay. He was in Leaving Las Vegas, which I love, but I don't remember him in that. Whatever. He looked super familiar though.
Yeah.
Oh, he played the Phantom of the Opera
Hmm.
in
Okay.
1998's Phantom of the Opera. I never seen that, but that makes sense. He's creepy.
He is. He is a bit creepy. He has like a natural creepiness to him.
He was in Naked Lunch. Did you finish watching that? Or were you reading that?
No, I was watching it.
Okay, good. Yeah, don't read that.
I don't think I watched all of it. I think I watched about half of it. I should finish it just to say that I have.
Yeah. There's other stuff to watch. He was in Arachnophobia.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I do remember that one. I did see the part where the main character shoots his wife.
In Arachnophobia?
No, sorry, Naked Lunch.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's based on fucking William S. Burroughs actually shooting his wife.
And you were the one who told me that, which blew my mind because I did not know that at all.
Yeah, he totally got away with it. Like they had a William Tell routine, but like you fucking shot your wife in the head. Same thing with Norman Mailer. Like I think he stabbed his wife to death. I don't know if she actually died, but he did stab his wife. And he got away with it too. I typed in Norman Mailer, and the first search thing that comes up is Norman Mailer stab.
It sounds like people are privy to.
Oh my god. Yeah, they're listening. So the stabbing of Adele Morales by Norman Mailer during a November 1960 party celebrating his mayoral candidacy. He stabbed his wife twice with a penknife in a drunken altercation, nearly taking her life. So she nearly died. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Rot in pieces.
For real.
These guys were all about stabbing and shooting their wives. Fucking pieces of shit. Anyway, yeah.
All right. So, well, we can move on from.
Let's move on. Did you follow this drama, the YouTube drama with Trisha Paytas and Ethan Klein from H3 Productions?
Sort of. So I got the highlights, but I
Okay.
didn't see it like blow by blow. I just saw all the like gossip or commentary YouTubers were talking about their fallout. And I tried watching a video or two, but Trisha's so like all over the place. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't follow along. But
It's really sad for me to watch this. And I know like I'm taking the unpopular opinion here, but I totally feel for her. I think she does this often enough where she'll just shoot herself in the foot, and it's I don't want to say like she can't help herself, but like she just keeps digging, and like it doesn't make it any better, and people don't see like the actual mechanisms of what's going on and like the things that she does to like create these situations aren't really that bad, but like the way that it gets reacted to and how it gets compounded is what makes it so messy. And like we shouldn't have seen any of this. Like this all should have been handled behind closed doors. They should not have aired that episode. Like the last episode of Frenemies should never have been aired. I blame Ethan Klein on that one. Like that's his, it's basically his production. He made that choice. Even if she okayed it, I think she was surprised that he actually aired it. It's just fucking messy. And I don't know. I do feel for her because I feel like I could be messy like that too, where I don't know. I always want to take the side of the person who like loses the most and who like
the underdog.
Yeah, the underdog. Like the general public is totally shitting on her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's trash. I don't know. Like they're both neither one of those people is perfect. Like they both are problematic and
yeah, they're both flawed people. And they both it is kind of funny to see them both trot out the like the other one traumatized me and triggered me by saying this. And it's like, well, I mean, you both pushed each other's buttons in that way. Like you both did that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's hard because the public is taking one side pretty much. And what the other one is like the villain in the scenario. And like it's like a messy friendship. Like I've had fights with friends. I'm like, and some of it went public, you know? I've had a fight with a friend who like tried to call me out over something that like was in their head, basically. They were so upset at me. Like I was going through something. I was like in a traumatic, abusive relationship. And like we just stopped talking. And, you know, it felt amicable, not amicable, but just like we just have nothing in common anymore. And I'm going through something. So like I don't have time to, I don't know. We went our separate ways. And then like a year later, they made a call out post about how I was like an abusive friend or something.
A year later?
What's that?
A year later?
A year later. And I emailed her and I was just like, can we talk on the phone? Like, and we had like a 3-hour long conversation and she was like, yeah, I think I was like conflating my feelings for you with like somebody else who like traumatized me. And I was just like, okay, like I don't really want anything to do with you anymore. Like, please stop talking about me on the internet. And like, so like I've been there. Like it's messy. You don't want to have like a public freaking fight with a friend. It's like, here's someone who like knows all of my dirty shit, you know? Are they going to use that against me? Like that's what's happening with Ethan and Trisha. Like it's just they know too much and like I don't know. It shouldn't be happening for YouTube views. Like it's just
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I can see both of their points of view because on the one hand, yeah, it's Ethan's production company and it's his space and whatever. But he's whining like, oh, well, I did all this stuff and she just gets to show up. And it's like, well, but she is more famous than you. Let's be real. Like she did bring like that star power or whatever you want to call it that made people want to watch the podcast or listen to it or however people consumed it, because without that, like no one would really care.
right.
Or at least less people.
Yeah. Although, I mean, he has a really popular, like I didn't even know who he was before the Frenemies podcast just because I am a Trisha stan, but like he has a huge fan base. It's crazy.
He does? Oh, okay. I guess
yeah.
I've never heard of him.
Right. I think it's niche, you know. I don't even know if Trisha's more mainstream, but like maybe they just appeal to us for whatever reason.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Have you ever had a situation similar to that? Like just a public.
No one really knows me. It's this like, I have this Facebook friend, Saya, and she said something along the lines of, "You can't cancel me. No one was ever subscribed to me." Really smart and funny. So full attribution to her. But I'm not, someone that, I don't really feel like I have enemies. I feel like the people who don't fuck with me anymore just kind of ghost me and then never talk to me again. That's more usually how it goes. It's not like some big drama or fallout or like fuck Marie forever. It's just like, or they might be saying something like that behind the scenes, but you know what I mean? Like, to my knowledge, they don't really do that. They just kind of ghost and talk shit about me forever or avoid me. Like,
Yeah.
I've not been in any like huge call out posts or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't really have much of it. I think you've got really more of a platform than I do, because since you're a writer, I think you just naturally reach more people, and so more people pay attention to you. And so she probably felt like, I don't know, maybe it's just like some weird way to try and get attention.
Yeah. I don't even want to diagnose that. Like it was fucking stupid. I hated it. Like it was so traumatizing. Like I had just gotten out of this really bad relationship. Like it had ended and then this happened and I was just like I didn't know how to deal with it at all. It wasn't cool. And yeah. I don't know. I think I've been in too many situations like that. And I wonder if it's just because I'm like outspoken on the internet.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that like attracts a certain type of personality, or I don't know. I was kind of your orbiter for a while, but I don't. But I feel like I'm a good orbiter, not like the other orbiters.
You're not really an orbiter though. You're
Oh, but
you're an arbiter of taste and style.
I feel like I was at first, just because I was like, oh, she's so cool, and she's a writer, and she has. Also, you should tell everyone, in case they don't know, about like Be About It Press. And Alex writes books and poems and has a publishing DIY company, and that's really cool.
Thank you. Remember you asked if I wanted to like read poems on the podcast or something, and I don't know. I'm
If
like
you don't, but
yeah, I'm like not good at promoting myself and like I don't know. I say that, but like I don't even know if that's true. But like I don't know.
well, but now people can go and like find that if they want to.
Yeah. Go to alexandranaughton.com and you can also subscribe to my Substack and beaboutitpress.com and buy our books. That would be cool.
Yeah.
For all the listeners out there.
I really liked just your persona or writing in general. And then when I read A Feeling of Place, Something Said to You, I just liked the rawness of it, and the authenticity. I think you can recognize that in a piece of writing. And
Thank you.
it was really cool. So it's a worthwhile read.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I had the bad luck of releasing that right before lockdown. So all of the events that I had planned to like promote that book just totally fell apart. But this weekend I'm going to be reading from it with some other people who published books during lockdown. Yeah, I appreciate, thank you for reading it. It's like a super triggering book, and that's the bad relationship that I wrote about. It's the worst, probably the worst thing I've ever been through.
Yeah, trigger warning to anyone who wants to read it. Like it's not like a light, fluffy.
It's not a light read. No.
It's like intense, but I don't know. I like intensity. I think maybe that's why I watch true crime or, a lot of nonfiction. That's my preference, is like intense nonfiction type works, which that falls under.
What true crime do you listen to, like podcasts or?
I listen to, I don't so much listen to a lot of true crime podcasts anymore. I used to listen to Sword and Scale, and I ended up just getting really irritated with it because the guy, I don't even remember the host's name, but he was very like annoying. Like he would interject his personal opinions about the case and just say these things that were gratuitous or unnecessary. Like it would be about murder or something, and he would be like, it's criminally insane criminal he's such a bad person, he did this terrible thing to this other person and in cold blood. And it's like, I don't need you to tell me what your opinion of these people is. Like, just relay the facts, please. And then he was some like wannabe DJ, so there would be like 20-second long segments from like IDM bands, like I don't know, it'd be like Boards of Canada or Black Dog or something like that. And it was, it's good music or whatever. It's music I like and listen to, but it's like, we don't need spooky music sort of stitched through this thing we're trying to get through. Like, can you please just report the story?
That's so cheesy.
I got irritated with it and I stopped listening to him. But I definitely watch, a lot of, I like what's the swimming one? The JCS swimming.
Oh, Jim Can't Swim?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's what I was actually just about to bring that up. I was trying to think if it was Jim Can't Swim or John Can't Swim. He's so good. And it's like, no bullshit. We're gonna watch like a freaking police interview video, and every now and then I'm gonna point something out that's happening or like draw your attention to something. So good. The Dahlia DiPolito one, fucking love that shit.
What was it called?
Dahlia DiPolito. She is the woman who tried to hire a hitman to kill her husband, and she was putting her husband through the freaking ringer, like just trying to get him around. Like he had like a past life of crime that he was like trying to make good and like make money and like, do right. And, he like bought a house and had a job and like was just gonna live his life. And he married this woman, Dahlia, and she saw him as like just a, someone to be taken advantage of. And she was trying to get him arrested, trying to get all of his assets, and she was trying to kill him. She like gave him like anti-freeze smoothies and like hired a fucking hitman, but he was actually an undercover police officer.
Oh my God.
And like there's video of her on tape talking about, like, I just want to get rid of him, blah, blah, blah. She was a little careful with, I think she might have knew she was being recorded, but.
So she is in prison.
I think so. I'm going to look that up. That was a good episode. You should watch that one.
I should. Did you ever see the Jodi Arias?
Yes.
She's nuts. She's wild.
totally nuts.
And she was an interesting case because usually if a woman kills, it's for like security, you know, or an insurance payout or whatever. And she killed out of jealousy.
Yes. She's fucking creepy. The photo, there's like a digital camera. She was taking photos because they were like sleeping together. He wasn't supposed to be seeing her.
Yeah.
Because he's Mormon and like she wasn't, and they weren't married, but they were sleeping together, and like he was trying to move on and like had a different girlfriend. And I guess like she just had her ways and like was able to, you know, soften him up or whatever. They were like sleeping together right before she fucking killed him. And she was taking photos of him while he was in the shower. And like the last photo on her camera, he like looks surprised. He's in the shower and he's just like, and like, she probably killed him like right after taking that photo. What a creep.
She is a creep. There was one other one, I think, on JCS Swimming. It was a woman. She had like the craziest eyes I've ever seen.
Oh, yes.
I
Yes.
posted the video about it on my Facebook before, and for whatever reason, I can't remember her name. But
Her facial expressions are
Lazarus.
yes. Her facial expressions are so nuts. She's like,
right. She pretends to play dumb when they're grilling her, and she should know better because she's a cop to go down there for questions, talk about anything if she was like worried about it or whatever. But God, yeah, that's funny.
I think we dated for like maybe 4 months, and yeah, maybe I went to their house maybe once.
Right. And he's like, oh, so you never met his fiance? Well, I don't know. So that's gonna be the thumbnail YouTube pics.
Oh no.
Because that's what it did last time. We look so goofy. It's really funny.
We have to like submit a real thumbnail.
We will. That was our lesson. No, that one was really funny though. It's like you never got in a fist fight with her at her office. You never drove down there. Oh. It's been so many years. I don't know. She's just like trying to play it cool and casual. Like, I don't even remember this guy.
What a weirdo.
Truly.
Like, live your life. Like, she was married. She had her own husband. Like,
and he still didn't love you. I think they slept together one time or something after his wife died, or fiance, or whatever she was.
Yeah.
You were a pick-me your whole life, killed another woman for this dumbass, and what'd it get you? He still doesn't want. She's like the Julian Sands in Boxing Helena.
Yes.
Like, if I can't,
no
one will. And it's like he'd probably just rather be alone forever.
Yeah. Yeah, she sucked.
She did. That was funny though. She just should have known better because she was an ex-cop. And it's funny that she went in for questioning and they popped her like that.
I couldn't believe that. Like, lawyer, please. Don't even, like, why would you even go? Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. She's like, that's bold.
Yeah.
So convinced. She was so convinced. And I mean, it was what was it, in the 80s or 90s that she did it. And so maybe it was just due to like the shitty forensics they had back then.
Right. A lot of time had passed.
Yeah.
How did they catch her?
How
Did
did
she have a fingerprint or something?
I want to say, yeah, that I should watch it
Or
again.
DNA?
DNA was somewhere. Or maybe on her body. Maybe they exhumed her or something.
Ugh.
But
Stephanie Lazarus, what a piece of shit. Oh my God. Did you see the most recent one was the fucking kid who shot up the high school, the Parkland shooter? He tried to get an insanity plea and was pretending to be crazy, that like he had a demon who told him to do it. He's like getting interviewed by the cop in the interrogation room, and he's like pretending to be disturbed or whatever. It's just like, we have cameras, like we saw you before the cop came in. You're
like
definitely acting. What's
he like to act different in front of the camera, or like when someone was there?
Yeah, he was like being like just like staring at the floor. Then he like looked up at the camera and realized, oh, like there's a camera. And he was like pretending to like shoot himself. He was just a terrible actor. Plus, like, I don't know. The insanity plea, that's only going to stop them from giving you the death sentence. It's not going to like give you an out.
Yeah, it's weird. That is strange that people are like, no, please just imprison me for life instead. Please. Just please let me spend the next 7 decades in a cell. Like, okay.
In like a mental institution, which is probably worse than prison, because you're with like a bunch of severely disturbed people. Like
Yeah.
at least in prison you can like make friends.
You wouldn't even have buddies like in a prison. You couldn't even go like work out or read or something.
You're probably like in solitary all the time, like in like a padded cell. Like that doesn't sound fun or chill. It's not like you're going to the freaking like, you know, spa or something.
I don't know. I don't know what they think it is.
Right. They think it's maybe like therapy. Maybe. Like what they see on TV, like, oh, like we get to like sit in a circle once a day and talk about our feelings and then play basketball outside and like
with the bros.
Yeah. Rather just have the death sentence, like just fucking kill me.
Yeah. Like Eileen, when she was locked up, she very much like wanted the death sentence. Like, kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Like I hate being I mean, I'm not saying for me, but just like I hate being here. I had like a traumatic childhood. I've been abused like all my fucking life. And like I don't have remorse for the things I did because fuck them. So just fucking kill me.
Right. I think in this vein of true crime, the other thing that we were going to discuss was Sopranos. And I, in 2021, finally finished watching it for the first time.
That's incredible. I think I only watched it for the first time in 2020. So.
Oh, you did? Okay. I thought.
Yeah, I'm a newbie.
So we're both Soprano newbies.
Yeah, no, I was too young when it was on television. Plus, we didn't have HBO. We weren't bougie like that. Although my dad told me that he watched it when it was out. So maybe he was like renting videos from the library or something, because we definitely did not have HBO. Or maybe he was watching it as like Buddy's place or something. I don't know. But
Yeah, I remember I saw like one episode at my sister's house a long time ago, like when it was actually on. And then other than that, I never interacted with it. Like I just didn't watch it. I didn't care.
yeah.
I had nothing against it. You know, I love, Goodfellas and Casino, and I love mob movies and stuff like that. But I just, for whatever reason, didn't watch it.
Yeah. I think it's like really good commentary on the mob, and like especially how people idealize the mob.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's like The Wire in that vein. Like it's not really glorifying that lifestyle. It's just kind of present like it kind of sucks. Like, yeah, it's good to be on top, but like
Yeah.
it doesn't last. Plus, to get there, you're like not making that much money and you're like doing really terrible things.
I wonder, yeah, like how much money were they? Because they seem to be doing pretty good, but I mean, if Carmela's worried about investing a few thousand into the stock market, then I don't know how good could they be doing? I think they were probably doing pretty well, but
They were doing okay as long as he was alive. But there's no savings, there's no investments. They don't, she's not working.
yeah.
She took 40 grand from the bird feeder. Um, like it doesn't last. Like you have some material possessions, but look at Christopher, living in kind of a shitty apartment, and they're not all the underlings aren't making that much money at all. Like they're pretty much just getting by. You make more money the more terrible things that you do.
Yes. And can I just say, Chrissy absolutely deserved to live in a shitty apartment his whole life.
He's a piece of shit.
He is such a piece of shit. And when Tony was about to kill him, I was like, oh, do it. Oh, he's going to please do it. Please do it. I wanted him to do it. Because I was like, fuck that guy.
Yeah. After Adriana, just like,
what a piece of shit.
There's like basically, I don't like you anymore. Like you weren't even nice to her or good to her. But I felt like that was definitely like a toxic relationship, but it also, I don't know, it made sense. Like she could have been good for him if he wasn't such a piece of shit.
Yeah, she was an enabler, and they were in like a toxic codependent relationship. But he just like beat her all the time for no reason, which is like so disturbing.
I loved her though.
I do too. I really liked her.
She was so cool.
She was, and she had like all these hobbies and interests, and she supported him, and she was just like real, and she seems like a fun person. Like of anyone on the show, I probably would have wanted to hang out with her the most.
Definitely. Yeah. I would have loved to be her friend and not be like a FBI informant.
Yeah, not be like a secret agent. Right.
Yeah, it probably would have been really fun hanging out. Oh my God. Watching that show is bad though, because it makes me want to smoke cigarettes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Everyone's constantly smoking. All of those HBO shows from that era, like everyone's just smoking. Like was Philip Morris sponsoring those shows or something?
I don't know, but it was definitely like I was maybe at the beginning of the show I was still smoking. I don't know, IRL. But I know at least the laws used to be a lot more lax or something. I think now maybe there are more laws that forbid advertising in certain ways, or at least to children, or I don't know. But
All of the Ryan Murphy shows, people are just smoking like chimneys.
is that like the producer?
American Horror Story, like any show, yeah, he's the producer. Um he did American Horror Story and like that OJ Simpson one, People versus OJ. Um they're constantly smoking though, and it's just like it they make like a little sizzle sound. Like there's like a little sound effect whenever they light up and they're inhaling, and it's just like, oh, like I really want to smoke. Fuck. When I
Yeah,
was smoking, and like it would make me want to go outside and smoke, and like now I'm just like, like I can't even watch this shit. It's just like too.
after, yeah, it does. I think there will always be that part of me, like every so often, like I'll walk somebody by somebody smoking and I'll be like, because it smells a little bit good to me. But it's been so long now that it's like, I don't know, it never tempts me at all. But it does like put you back like in those times of like, that's those memories of just lighting up all the time for no reason,
Yeah.
just smoking constantly.
Yeah. I will never do it again. It's been like 6 months,
Good.
but
Awesome.
it's still like, yeah, like there's
That
definitely,
hasn't been long. That hasn't been really long. You know, I mean, it's a long time. It's a substantial amount of time, but I could see why you would still like struggle with it. Like after a couple of years, you'll be like, whatever.
yeah. I think I think that's what it is though. Like even listening to like certain kinds of music that reminds me of like, I don't know, like being like my party days or whatever, just like being in someone's house and just like smoking, like chain smoking, like and drinking. Like it doesn't make me want to do it, but it does make me like it like pulls on some heartstrings somehow, like
Nostalgic.
yeah.
I think if this
Like
just
damn.
that's part of your life or part of your youth or part of a certain time, it's going to be punctuated by that. Like it was just part of the way things were.
Yeah. It's weird how that happens.
Mhm.
What did you what did you like about The Sopranos?
I think in any mob movie or series, there's this sense of living vicariously a little bit. So it was kind of fun to just explore the idea of like, what would it be like to be powerful or to instantly, just demolish your enemies or just have them whacked and then get money for your lifestyle and live outside the confines of like a working stiff 9 to 5, follow the rules, be a pencil pusher all your life, sort of thing. So there was definitely that aspect of it. I think the other favorite part of it for me was like his therapy sessions. Like I liked that aspect, and I liked their dynamic and their relationship. In some ways, I wish it could have been more, or like that she would have violated the patient, uh, whatever client doctor relationship in some ways, because it would have been
Healthy.
really interesting. But yeah, I really enjoyed their relationship a lot, I think.
Yeah. I liked, yeah. I read some like different commentary about Melfi's role in the series, and like how she's kind of like the representation of the viewer. Like she is the moral authority on that show, but also she still feels like she's someone who would never do what Tony does
Yeah.
and like judges him for it. But also she's still like kind of attracted to, there's something very alluring about that lifestyle. And um yeah.
And she contemplates telling him what happened to her and who the guy was and where he works.
Yeah. That was a struggle, wanting to unleash Tony the Rottweiler on the man who abused her.
I did not know Rottweilers were Roman soldier dogs until that was explained in that episode. Like, I thought that was a cool bit of history.
Yeah. That was a cool bit of history and a cool dream sequence. Did you skip through the dream sequences? Did you like that one?
Alex called me out because I'm an asshole and I just scrubbed through so many scenes. Like, I get really impatient when I watch things. It's really funny, and I probably wouldn't do that like if I were watching it with someone else. But if I'm by myself, I'm constantly skipping any like filler or I did not like the dream sequences. I skipped through a lot of him being in a coma and just like I don't want to see whatever coming out of someone's mouth or someone turning into someone else or someone says something and someone who died is alive again. Like, get to the point. But consequently, like, I missed a lot of stuff that way. So there are trade-offs.
It was full of metaphor. Mm-hmm. Did you see the dream sequence where he's like walking down the boardwalk and he stops and there's like a bunch of fish and one of them starts talking to him and it's Big Pussy and he's like, "Why'd you kill me, Tony? Did you know I was talking to the did you know I was talking to the FBI or something like that?" Like the fish reveals like something in his subconscious, something he already knows, like, and that's what makes him get rid of that character ultimately. Like the dream kind of confirms his suspicions for him.
Wait, so but I thought that was after Pussy already died, like after he already killed him.
I thought no, I think it was his like fever dream sequence when he's like throwing up and like having the diarrhea, because they both went to like, they ate like mussels and then they had like Indian food, and like just the combination of all that food like gave them both diarrhea or like stomach issues. Right. And I think he has that dream sequence when he's in that like just feverish state, you know, his body's like, he's like in and out of sleep, and he has that weird dream where he's just like walking down the boardwalk and the fish is like, anyway, $4 a pound.
See, and that's what I get for that's what I get for scrubbing through all of it. I miss things like that. If it would just get to that part, then I probably would have watched it. But I don't need to see Tony, you know, walking down the boardwalk and setting the scene and staring out into the coast and I don't know. I'm just an asshole. I can't watch all that shit. I need to get to the point. But I read somewhere else that in one of the dream sequences, it says something, or Chrissy says to him, like, that the number 3 will be of relevance to you.
Oh, yes, that happens. Chrissy like gets beat up or he's in the hospital for some reason and he goes to purgatory and he's like 3 o'clock. He tells that to Polly and then Polly wakes up at 3 a.m. having like had a nightmare and then he goes to see that spiritualist who like he's like, oh yeah, you're surrounded by a bunch of people. One of them has poison ivy. And like one of them was your first. And he wants to know why you did it or something. He's like talking about all the different people that Paulie killed over his career.
Oh, right, right, right. I do remember that part. I did see that part.
That's a funny scene.
Yeah, that's good because it's like, ooh, he knows there might be a little something to his like his ways.
Yeah, like there's a lot of ghosts and superstitious stuff in that series. There's a scene where they're at a party and at Tony's house. It's after Big Pussy has been murdered. And I don't know, it's like oh, not a wedding, but like maybe a birthday party or something. And it's Tony and the guys, and they're like in the hallway having a conversation. And Tony opens a door, and on the other side of the door is a mirror. And for like a split second, you see Big Pussy just like standing there.
Oh,
It's super creepy.
that is creepy. That's scary. Especially like if you, I don't know. I'll never know probably what that feels like. To like if you killed someone to then like see their ghost, like that must be terrifying because it's like now you no longer have control over this entity.
Yeah.
You can't kill a ghost. So.
No. Have you ever seen True Romance?
I don't know if I have.
It's Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette. It's Quentin Tarantino's first screenplay. He didn't direct it, but it's the first screenplay that he wrote. It's really good. I would recommend it.
Okay.
I think you might like it. It's like an early 90s film and it takes place in LA. Well, part of it takes place in LA. But there's a scene where the fuck is his name? The guy who plays Tony Soprano.
Oh,
Why James Gandolfini.
yeah.
James Gandolfini's in it. He's a mobster. And I think it might have been, I don't know if I'm probably wrong, but it's maybe one of his first roles or like one of his first like prominent roles. And he has this like little soliloquy where he's talking to Patricia Arquette. Hi, Polly.
Tell everyone who Polly is named after.
Polly is named after Paulie Gutierrez, aka Polly Walnuts, because he's black and white, just like Polly's hair.
This is our executive producer.
Oh, I love you. My special man.
I love Patricia Arquette.
She is great. It's a good movie.
I can watch it. Maybe we can discuss it next time or something.
That would be fun. It's one of my favorite movies.
For real? Okay.
Yeah. It's also like very violent in some scenes, and I have like a funny story to tell you once after you see it.
Okay.
It's not really a funny story, but like I know some like insider details.
Oh, okay.
Gary Oldman's in it.
Oh, I love him.
He's good. Okay, so James Gandolfini has this soliloquy and he's talking about all the people he's murdered. His character, not him in real life, but he's like, yeah, the first one's the hardest. Like after that, second one, it's a little bit easier. hold on. I'm wondering if I'm like conflating this with something else from the Departed, which is like another one of my favorite movies.
I love that movie too. It sounds like a line that could be in there, but I haven't. I don't remember if it actually is.
He's like talking about the emotional impact it makes on him, or it has made on him, to kill people. And his final line is, now I just do it just to see their face change.
Reminds me of the like Johnny Cash lyric.
Yeah, yeah. Shot a man in Reno, just to watch him die.
I wonder if he was maybe inspired by that.
Maybe. I mean, probably. It's a weird line. But I don't know. Like I've never killed a person. I've never killed anything. But I can't imagine like just like the depersonalization that something like that would take, especially if you're doing it like as your job.
Yeah, well, eventually it would become routine.
Yeah.
So, the initial horror, I guess, out of necessity would wear off.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm conflating it, or I like was also thinking about, there's the scene in The Departed where they're like shooting that couple on the beach, and Jack Nicholson's character laughs and he's like, she fell funny. That's a great movie.
It's a great movie. And Jack Nicholson, come on, he's always great.
Yeah.
He's always great.
He's always great, even when he's overacting. But, that's just, my dad doesn't like the fact that like he was doing that rat scene. He thought that was like way too much. Like all the stuff with the rat, and like the rat at the end, where the rat is like on the balcony and you can see the whatever that building is in Boston with the dome.
Oh, yeah, when it's skitters across at the end.
Yeah. He always brings that up, my dad, just like, oh yeah, like that, like way too ham-handed with the metaphor. We get it. There was a rat. Like,
he has a point. Points were made.
Yeah.
Points were made.
Oh my God.
Oh, before I forget, the 3:00 relevance. I've read this. Did you read about that? Or do you know the relevance for The Sopranos?
I know it's the witching hour.
Someone said that, like, at the end, the person who, I mean, we don't know what happens, but if it's the guy who went in the bathroom to emerge and then kill Tony Soprano, he was standing at 3:00.
There are so many like fan theories about that last scene, and like all the different clues that come up within the show to prove their hypothesis that Tony gets killed. I don't know if he did.
I think that he did. And the only reason why is because of Meadows. Like, why else would we be forced to watch her parallel park for so long?
I think that, and that's the fact that happened, makes me feel like they were trying to end it on like kind of a boring note. Like, here he is in a diner, his daughter's taking how long to park. They're like, the onion rings are getting cold.
But they didn't know. That's the difference. Like, if someone had been if he had been in the car with her, or perhaps. Or if anyone had been in the car with her, then maybe that would make sense to me. But the fact that we're forced to watch like her going back and forth and parallel parking and doing a poor job of it is like agonizing. It's so boring. And I didn't skip it only because I knew it was the last episode. So I didn't even skim through it. I watched every agonizing second of her parking this fucking car. But it's because of that like when she walked in at that moment, he would be looking away and be a perfect target for the guy coming out of the bathroom with a gun.
But the guy, the members only jacket guy, didn't know that Meadow was going to come in.
No, he didn't know. He just took his shot when he saw it because Tony turned away because he was coming out of the bathroom.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. I mean, yeah, I see it, but I also just want to say, like, I don't think he got killed. That's my own personal, I want a happy ending to the show. You know what I watched right after when The Sopranos ended? I watched Nurse Jackie. If you haven't seen that,
I haven't.
I recommend that. It's the actor who plays Carmela Soprano. It's like her own show. She's a nurse from Staten Island, and it's definitely got some like fan service, some Sopranos fan service in there. I loved it. It's heart-wrenching too. I won't tell you anything more. I recommend it. If you have time, watch it. It's good.
It would be interesting to see her in another role.
Yeah, she's great. And apparently when they were filming, she didn't watch any of the other scenes. She didn't read the whole script. So she only knew her scenes with James, which I think is interesting because he is kept totally separate from the rest of his life. She only knows the version of him that comes home and like eats ice cream on the couch.
Right.
She's not really involved in the mob lifestyle whatsoever, besides like being the mob wife, and like making the lasagna and taking the kids to school and like going to church and like whatever. Like she's not like Adriana. Adriana, I think, has more of a, but even she's kept at a distance from that stuff too. But yeah, like she didn't read any of the other scenes, so all she knows about the show is like the scenes that she did that she's in. So like I thought that was interesting. Like she doesn't see the ugly side of Tony really. Oh, hello.
Yeah. Almost like her character.
Yeah. It's a great show. Fucking Sopranos.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really great. I didn't want it to end. I mourned the characters when it was over. Like, oh man.
What was your favorite season?
I don't know if I had a favorite season. I think maybe I liked the earlier seasons a little better, but also there are things that happen in the later seasons that I enjoyed too. So,
Probably. You hear him?
Yes, he did.
Hello, little man. He's like, I need you to pay attention to me now, Mom.
Yeah, I don't know that I had a favorite season really. I liked when Chris died. And I liked when Carmela was like, it sucks because she had these like almost affairs. She didn't even really. She had one affair, I guess, technically near the end.
Oh,
With
with the fucking teacher.
that dorky teacher dude, but I wish she would have slept with like Furio or the priest. You know, I really was shipping either one of those two. I liked those parts too.
I wish she had fucked Furio. But I wonder, I don't know. He respected her. He respected her opinions on things. But I wonder if like they did end up together, it would not be much different from being in a relationship with Tony.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. And he probably didn't even have as much money or anything. So she would just be like,
right.
I don't know. But it would have been hot if she did something with the priest too. But that didn't go anywhere.
The priest got too drunk. They were gonna make out.
They totally were gonna.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then there was like the hot builder guy who was gonna redo her living room or whatever.
Right. Yeah. It was just kind of bullshit because like Tony got to have all these affairs. But Carmela was just more, I don't know. I could see though how it might be that way because the people who did know like would just be too scared.
Yeah, they didn't want that smoke. They didn't want to deal with the wrath of Tony Soprano, which makes sense. But yeah, I felt sorry for her, even though like I don't know, there's like a lot of criticism about Carmela and how like she's really no better than Tony, but
It's not in a way like she whatever she enabled him and she knew the deal, you know. She knew how he was and the things, some of the things at least that he did. So maybe not to the extent, but she knew what she was signing up for.
yeah. When she goes to see like a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whatever, a therapist, he's like, well, you know what your husband does is immoral. So like you need to leave him. Mm-hmm. She's just like, no.
I think it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting show. There's a lot to unpack. I love shows that are like that.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite season or a favorite episode or moment?
Good question. I like the episode. I've said this before in like the Sopranos group that I invited you to, Sopranos duck posting.
Did I think I joined it.
It's pretty good. They do some really good analysis in that group. My favorite episode is called The Ride, and it's like a season 5B episode. So like lots of stuff has already happened. Adriana's gone. Chris is married with a child. Janice has a child with Bobby. Like things are very different. Everyone's kind of grown up, but no one's really changed much. And Tony and Christopher go on a long ride for something. I don't know what they're like picking up something, and they have dinner, and after dinner they run into these guys who are like stealing wine or something like that, and they steal all the wine from the guys' trucks, and they're like, you better watch out, we're the Vipers. And they drive off with the stolen wine from this other gang or whatever, the Vipers, whoever they are. It's like a motorcycle gang or something. And they're having the annual festival where they have like a parade and like food vendors. It's for a church. It's like some Italian holiday or something, and or like a Catholic holiday. And they have like a Ferris wheel and like rides or whatever. And Janice and her baby are on a ride, and it breaks down, and it's like a big kerfuffle kind of, and like Janice is like, super dramatic about it. Everything's fine, nothing bad happens, but like the ride breaks down, and it's like kind of symbolic about the mob lifestyle. Like everything's kind of shitty, like it might look fun or whatever, but everything's kind of shitty, and like it breaks and it's dangerous. And Paulie gets in trouble because he didn't want to like pay enough money to get like it professionally done, so it's just kind of like shitty and thrown together. And yeah, like later on in that episode, Chris and Tony are having a conversation, and like there's nothing for them to talk about. So they bring up like their interaction with the Vipers again. Like, hey, remember when we did that? The Vipers, hey, fuck out of here. Like, like just basically like they have nothing to talk about. So, because their lives are like so empty and meaningless. And
Point, yeah.
Christopher ends up like doing dope and like stays out all night in front of the fairgrounds or wherever they're having like the Ferris wheel and shit. And he like a dog sleep next to him, and like he's like looking at the lights like yeah, I think it's my favorite episode because nothing really happens. There's just like some quiet and symbolic moments that happen in that episode. Oh, I think it's the episode where Paulie walks into the strip club and sees the Virgin Mary.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do remember that episode. That was a good episode.
It's I don't know. Yeah. I'm glad you like it too. It's just, I think it says a lot. I think a lot of their episodes like really hammer home a bunch of different ideas, but for some reason like it's just sad. Like that episode is very sad in a quiet and subdued kind of way.
Yeah.
I also like it when Meadow wants to go to Spain or whatever, and her dad Tony's like you're not going, like you have to. I don't know why, but like she's just being kind of spoiled about it, and like wants to like it's like after her boyfriend gets murdered by the mob for ripping off the card game, right? And she's like obviously traumatized and like is behaving like a spoiled brat, but like I don't know, that's how they raised her to be, like kind of a brat. And like Tony's like, no, you're not doing it, I'm not letting you do it, you have to stay in school here or whatever, you're not taking a year off. And she's like, okay, Mr. Mob Boss. And he's like, what did you say to me? And like lays on real thick, like
Like that's the worst thing she could have said to him. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
He acts like she said like murderer or something. Like that would have brought some real heat. But mob boss, like,
I guess he like tried so hard to like, have a fake persona of being in the garbage industry. She figured it out though. The son did not. He had no idea.
AJ was, yeah, pretty dense. He was kind of an annoying character. I think, you feel some compassion for him towards the end of the show. Like he starts having a more interesting role. But yeah, he's very
He just
irritating.
wanted to be a kid, like, like he's definitely also a spoiled brat, but like he, he didn't buy into the lifestyle the way Meadow ended up buying into it and like wanting to be like a lawyer for people like her dad. I think watching him get arrested kind of sealed the deal for that. Um, when she's like about to go out with friends and like the FBI shows up and like arrests him in front of her and her friends.
It definitely made me want to listen to a lot of like 2000s crunk and reggaeton. I was like, wow, oh yeah. Like it's just playing in all of their cars everywhere they go.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. And all of AJ's like band t-shirts.
Oh, yeah. He had some good ones.
Yeah. There is a poster too. Like Meadow has a Swedish black metal poster in her
Really?
room. I ended up listening to the album because I was just so curious. Because in one of the Sopranos groups that I'm in, people were like, she would never listen to that music. Okay, I'm gonna cut this part out where I'm like just looking, but it's called like not Maynard's. Maybe it's Norwegian black metal.
I wonder if it's Mayhem.
It's not Mayhem. It's like two names. There's a lot of fucking Norwegian black metal.
I'm so bummed I missed it.
Over.
What is it?
Over.
Over. Okay. I don't know that one.
I liked it. I mean, it's got some cool art. Okay. So the album is called Nathan's Madrigal. It's from 1997. I'll just put it in the chat.
Okay.
Got some cool ass album art. It's like a wolf howling at the moon. I played it. I like wanted to listen to it just to see, because people were like saying like, oh, like Meadow would never listen to this. And I don't know. I listened to shit like this when I was in like 10th grade. I used to go to metal shows, like local metal shows with like bands that like no one's ever heard of, but like,
Yeah. Well, and that's like a rebellious thing that she would have done, right?
yeah, in high school, like absolutely. The whole deal with all like the different metal stuff, I think, is like some record label had a deal with the Sopranos, and like I think the character or the actor who played AJ like was actually into like Cold Chamber and whatever, and like
That's cool.
they just gave him a bunch of merch to wear on the show.
All the track listings for this have to do with wolves. It's like wolf and fear, wolf and the devil, wolf and hatred. And it just goes on like that.
It's pretty cool. Like I would listen to this driving if I knew how to drive through like a wooded area at night on like a spooky road.
Ooh, yeah, that would be cool. Are there any good cemeteries south by you?
Yes, there are. I I've been like going on long walks and like running a little bit. I have to stop running because it's like it my hips popped out or like running is not good for me.
My body does not like it. I've tried to make it happen, and it's like this is not happening.
Hell no.
Not happening. So I just walk.
Walking is great. It's fun. It like clears your head. Um, I like walk up this big ass hill in my neighborhood, but I walk up the hill and then I walk like on a decline. I like make a right and then walk and then I walk down a hill and then I go through a cemetery and it's not like a spectacular cemetery, but it's very hilly and it's got a great view of San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, like Marin. You can see everything. See Oakland. The really majestic cemetery is in Oakland. It's called Mountain View Cemetery, and it's beautiful. It's where the Black Dahlia is buried, Elizabeth Short.
I need to see that. I never saw it.
You know that story, right?
I don't really. No.
Oh my God, it's so disturbing. Um, she was an actress or like a wannabe actress who moved to Los Angeles to like pursue her dream. I think she might have been from the Bay Area. And she was found cut up in an empty lot. She was found by a woman and her children who were like walking to school or something like early one morning. Her face was sliced. So she,
Wow.
like the Joker, you know. And no one knows who did it, but there is a theory that it was this doctor in the area who was this wealthy, prominent guy, and his son is a detective now, or like I think either his son or his grandson is a detective now, and he's like, yeah, I think it was my grandfather who did this, or like I think it was my dad. Like there's just overwhelming evidence, like, or like not real evidence, but like circumstantial evidence that it was this guy. And it makes sense because there was like, I think the way she was cut up was like very surgical.
He's a Nick Kavanaugh.
Yes. Oh, full circle. Ew. But that's a dark road if you want to go down it, looking
Yes.
up Black Dahlia.
You need to know these things.
Yeah. It's sad. Like she's just some young woman trying to.
It's sad. Yeah. But that's such like a big story. Like I've definitely heard that name before and have seen previews for the movie, and I know there's like a book or whatever, but I just never.
I think there's a Brian De Palma movie about her.
It's just one of those things like I feel like I should know about because it's such a big deal.
Yeah. Is this a De Palma movie? It is. I've never seen this. I love Brian De Palma. He's like my favorite director.
What else does he do?
Oh my God. Probably my favorite movie of all time. Body Double. He also made this, it's an excellent 80s movie. It's like Hitchcockian suspense. We can talk about it on another episode. I would love to talk about it. You should definitely watch it. It's super 80s. It takes place in Los Angeles. It's like it's about the movie industry, and it's got a super iconic gory death scene.
Oh wow.
He did Scarface. He did think he did The Untouchables. What else did he do? This great movie with John Travolta called Blowout. Another really good suspense Hitchcockian film. John Lithgow's in it, who's super creepy. Off the top of my head, those are like probably my favorites. Dress to Kill. Yeah, Dress to Kill, Blowout, Scarface, Body Double, Untouchables. He directed the music video for Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark. Carlito's Way.
Is
He did Bonfire of the Vanities from 1990. I like that movie. It's got Tom Hanks. It's like kind of silly. It's like a
I feel I vaguely remember that. I feel like I've seen it. I just don't remember anything about it.
yeah. It's pretty good. It's like a comment on consumer culture, I think. Those are like his probably best. He did Carlito's Way, Mission Impossible.
I recently saw Carlito's Way.
It's a cool movie.
It was frustrating. The ending was sad. But
Yeah.
you get a feeling when he's in the alley and he's beating that kid up and they're like, oh, let's kill him. And he's like, no, let him live. I'm like, I might bite you in the ass later.
It's a good movie. He's a good director. I don't know. But Body Double, it's so good.
All right, I'm into it. I'll watch it.
Please watch it. Here, I'll send you a it's like so sleazy. He wanted
Gory scene. You watched Boxing Helena, so I'll watch this gory scene.
Oh my god. No, don't just watch the gory scene. You gotta watch the whole movie.
No, I'll watch the whole movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the preview for Body Double. Or the trailer, whatever.
Now I have Dancing in the Dark stuck in my head.
Oh yeah. Is that a good video? I've never seen it.
Yeah, well, he dances with what's her face from Friends. She's like in the audience as a teen.
Oh yeah, I've seen it with Courtney Cox.
Courtney Cox, that's who it is. Okay, and I will pause that.
It's so good. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, I will. It'll be homework.
Here, watch it now. I want to see your face.
Okay.
You can edit out the sound.
All right.
Like,
Yeah, so we don't get caught there. Oh, that guy looks vaguely familiar.
he looks like Bill Maher, but he isn't.
Exactly. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Oh wait!
Look out! He's right behind you!
I did see this.
Why were you following
I totally
Gloria?
forgot.
That's not what happened.
I saw it like 2
He
years
was
ago.
throwing out a net, sizing me up. That's what he wanted.
This trailer's like giving too much information.
Oh my god! Okay, well, I totally want to rewatch it so that we can talk about it. But I didn't realize until I saw the picture that I had seen it. Like I watched it over at a friend's house, and I didn't realize it until just now.
It makes sense you've already seen it.
I never would have. It's just it was on at a friend's house, and so that's what they wanted to watch, and so I watched it.
I make everybody watch this movie.
I want to watch it again and talk about it.
Definitely, yeah. We should talk about it. It's like my favorite movie of all time.
Like the 80s palm style like decor in like LA, like it's beautiful. It looks
Mm-hmm. It's like visually gorgeous, and like it's like a love letter to Hitchcock, who's like my other favorite director of all time. I'm all about the Palma. But yeah. Um Blowout's also really good. Blowout's probably a better movie than Body Double. But Body Double, I won't say it. It's just like a happier movie, despite everything.
Yeah, I'll watch it again.
Oh, we didn't talk about you wearing a Christian Death t-shirt.
Oh yeah, we didn't. That's okay. This is only Theater of Pain. That was, of course, their first album. I think this is like a magic album and a magic band. It's just like one of those perfect, well, not perfect, I won't say that. It's controversial too. But yeah, musically, like it comes pretty close to perfect. It's just like, it's a really strange, beautiful album. And it's almost like got incantations and like chanting. There's backwards speaking on it. It's just everything you want from a death rock band.
Did they single-handedly cause satanic panic?
They definitely didn't help things. Rick Agnew actually has a cool story about recording only Theater of Pain. He was saying that so he used to go see them when they were performing with another guitarist. And he was like, at the time, he was in the Adolescents, which was like an iconic punk rock band. And he used to go see Christian Death, and he got kicked out of his band. And so he's seeing them and he's like, like the skeleton of a good band is there, but not the guitarist before was just playing like chords by rote. And he wasn't, like spectacular or anything. He was not like the genius like Rick Agnew. And so Rick was like, I would, really push the guitar and add some synths and stuff. And so they joined up and started playing together. But Roz would be with his boyfriend, I think Ron Affey was his name, yeah, and who's still like a performance artist, I think. It might be in LA actually. But at the time, like everyone else would just record the music, and then Roz would come in by himself separately and have like a little notebook and read through it, thumb through it, listen to him play, and then just leave. But when it was time to record the vocals, he could record the vocals. And so he came in after they'd already recorded the music for the album, and he said that like Rick was like, oh, he recorded the vocals and they sounded amazing. They sounded like Roz in his later years, like the 93, at Patriotic Hall, that video.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, he didn't really sound like that. Like he wasn't as confident about his style, and he just wasn't as developed as a vocalist or a musician. But so he came in and he said he nailed every track and it sounded amazing. And they went back in and he was like, oh, Roz, you got to hear this. Come hear the recording. Played it back. Nothing. There's no vocals. And Roz was,
oh no,
he was furious. And like Ron came running out from the room, and he called him her. And he said, oh, I don't want to be around her when she's like this. She's pissed. about Roz, and they all went back there, and he was fuming because there was nothing on the tracks. And so the producer or whoever went back, and he was like, oh, you know what, let me check something. And so he went out and he checked, and he came back, and I guess like his face was white, and he's like, no, everything's turned on, like all the needles were moving and stuff, just the vocals were gone. And he said that it felt really cold in the room, and they almost he described it as like a shadow of a flame behind Roz, and they all ran out of the room screaming.
Oh my God. So the studio was like haunted, or do you think there was like a demon?
I don't know. I would believe all of the above about Roz. Like, he was not a normal human being, so I don't know. But they were all on acid too. They were on a lot of drugs. But Rick Agnew tells the story better than I could. But yeah, so we don't know. Yeah, that's actually why Rick left the band, is he was really freaked out. He started being visited by entities. He started he just said, you know, I'm not religious or anything, but there are some things that shouldn't be dabbled in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at the end of his life, actually, Roz he actually believed in God, and he had a personal relationship with God. And you can see it in performances where he updates the lyrics to reflect that. Like in Spiritual Cramp, the original lyrics are, Jesus, won't you touch me, come into my heart, where the hell are you when the fire starts? Which is on Only Theater of Pain. And then in Patriotic Hall, he doesn't sing it at all. So I feel like at that time, he's maybe like finding himself now or exploring that part of himself. And then in later years, near like the late 90s, near the end of his life, he says, you are always there when the fire starts. So he changes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Really, I want to watch that interview.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
I will check out this
Yeah,
album.
And yeah, listening to the album, I think it's probably their best album, but also like Catastrophe Ballet, their next one, also really, really beautiful. Ashes, I'm not crazy about. And then there are some like one-off like singles and LPs that are really good. And after that, Valor Cand, who is the guitarist on Catastrophe Ballet, takes over to start singing. And Roz always asked him, like, if you want to sing, cool. And if you want to do the songs off of Catastrophe Ballet, then like, all right, you know, we wrote those together. We toured in Europe together. But then he started doing material from Only Theater of Pain.
Oh.
He was like, excuse me? Like, you weren't even there. You didn't even write that at all. What are you doing? And Valor Cam is just kind of an asshole in general. And it's funny because Roz is like super shady and trashes him in a lot of interviews back then. Like, it was, I feel like now bands try to like have some sense of decorum and be like, oh, you know, it was just, we had artistic differences. But Roz is like, fuck him, he's ugly, he wears a wig, he sounds like shit. He's just very shady.
That's kind of tight.
Yeah, it is. It made me like respect him even more, because it's true. And like, Valor's just kind of an ass. So I refer to the current lineup as New Christian Death. They still tour.
Right.
They're still touring. But I like one song he does, probably one. And then the rest is catalog.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 albums are the best, and this one definitely is probably my favorite.
Excuse me. We have to pushing up against the window, trying to get a moth on the other side of the screen.
Oh.
The other day, he was like hooked onto the window screen. And I was just like, oh my God, you're gonna like, he's gonna break it one day,
You might.
rip a hole.
But he'll keep you safe from all the moths.
Yeah. Polly man, please, hey, come here. All right, Marie,
All right.
have a good night.
Okay, you too.
Keep dooming.
On doing.
Bye.